The Oklahoma Sooners have a four-star linebacker on campus today visiting, and then additionally, they got a announcement from another four-star defensive lineman that will be on campus for the Oklahoma Sooners. And we might have a couple updates on some specific recruits that were there for the ChampU BBQ, gathering some of their thoughts. And we got some exciting news about some content that's going to be coming out over the next week while I am out town and on a honeymoon. So, guys, I want to hear from you. Go ahead and hit that like and hit that subscribe button and jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are. What are your feelings coming out of the Champ U barbecue? So, the Oklahoma Sooners are getting a visit from a four-star linebacker and a four-star defensive lineman today through the 21st. And most importantly, you're going to see that from Ty Anthony Smith, and that's kind of where we're going to start. The 6'1", 205-pound linebacker out of Jasper, Texas. Recently announced his top five. You know, you're going to be competing with USC there. You're going to be competing with some of the other top programs in the country. But the Oklahoma Sooners have kind of been really trying to figure out, okay, what is this going to look like in terms of what they're going to be getting at the linebacker position? Because you lost out on a Sammy Brown. I know some of you guys are jumping there and you're going to be like, well, we didn't really lose out because we didn't expect to get him. True. But you did lose out on an Easton Baker to Illinois, which I guess it's not really a loss if he decided he really wanted to go there. But with Ty Anthony Smith, you're having to go up against USC, Alabama, Texas, Texas A&M. And currently, if you're the Sooners, he's already taken his visit to A&M. He's going to be going to Texas on the 21st. And he was just at USC this past weekend. So he's trying to get these visits knocked out quickly. Ty Anthony Smith is trying to basically come down and make a decision. And when you look at what Ty Anthony Smith could potentially bring, he's a guy that definitely could be a starter at a lot of these programs. He's got the skills to, I think, kind of play a little bit of coverage into the corner. I don't know. I like his athleticism. I like the way he's able to cover folks. And when you look at the production that he had in 2021, 99 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 5 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 interception, you see that Ty Anthony Smith is not afraid to be able to go up there and cause havoc when, one, it comes to getting the quarterback, but two, trying to break up passes and be able to prevent the receivers from coming down with the ball. And I think that's the kind of player that if you're the Oklahoma Sooners, you want to be able to get, because I feel like that's something that we've kind of been missing for a while when it comes to some of these linebackers and cornerbacks. But looking at defensive lineman Jaden Jackson. So you guys have heard me kind of talk about Jaden Jackson for a while. This is a guy that plays at IMG Academy with the likes of David Stone and, well, many other guys that Oklahoma is trying to recruit, whether it's in this class or in a future class going forward. And when you look at what Jaden Jackson, he's a guy that, you know, when you looked at David Stone, had a lot of similar schools. A lot of people think that, hey, Jaden Jackson and David Stone might be a package deal. They might go to the same school. That's potentially true. If you're the Oklahoma Sooners and you're potentially losing out on a guy like Joseph Jonah Ajonye, where it doesn't sound like the visit with Oklahoma and JJA went too well, it sounds like Oklahoma might be truly at this point out of that race, which kind of sucks because, well, that was recruitment that a lot of people looked at the beginning and said, hey, Oklahoma has a really good shot here. So you look at Jaden Jackson at a little over 300 pounds and you go, okay, this is a guy that potentially one day could play a nose tackle position for Oklahoma. This could be a guy that definitely on the interior is going to make a difference. And if you land, we've talked about it so often, you land a class of David Stone, Nigel Smith, Jaden Jackson, maybe an Alex January, you're feeling pretty good at that point, right? You're feeling good about what you have at the defensive line because, yeah, he's a 4-star kid, the number 420th ranked player in the 247 composite rankings. He's taken visits to the likes of Florida, Miami, Ohio State. He's going to Texas on the 23rd. But this is the kind of guy that we expect Todd Bates to be able to go out there and land. So, hey, you know what? He's going to be on campus. Maybe a David Stone is still on campus. Maybe we'll have to kind of see kind of where that one's trending. But hey, you know what? I like Oklahoma. I like Oklahoma for Jaden Jackson. And wouldn't be surprised to see him in an Oklahoma uniform, especially if all of the reactions and the trending future cast and crystal balls are true. And if Oklahoma lands David Stone, you would expect they get this guy. But let's kind of dive into some ChampU BBQ notes, because there are a couple prospects that kind of interesting on. So we'll start off with Michael Patterson McDonald, because we're talking about the David Stones and all of those guys. And we talked about Jaden Jackson being David Stone's friend. So we'll talk about his other friend, Michael Patterson McDonald, who definitely had a good visit, right? From conversations with him, that's what he had. Now, we're not going to give away too much here, because we're actually going to be doing an interview with Michael Patterson again, and that should probably come out on Saturday or Sunday. Remember, I'm trying to get you guys content for while I'm out, so you guys will be able to hear about his experience at the ChampU BBQ, kind of what stood out and kind of what has stood out from the visits he's already taken, right? I think that's important to kind of hear as a Sooner fan. How do these visits stack up to other visits? But hey, you could be seeing Michael commit, maybe not. Just saying, keep your eyes peeled. Keep your guys' eyes out for that interview, because it's going to be a good one. Something that we are going to get recruited or recorded today. But we're going to move on to the 4-star offensive tackle, Bennett Warren, because the offensive line is definitely going to be something that the Oklahoma Sooners have to focus on this cycle, because you're potentially going to lose anywhere between 4 to 5 defense or offensive linemen in this class, because you have 4 seniors, and then you have Tyler Guyton, who is a junior, is going to be draft eligible. And yeah, if he has another really good season at the right tackle position, you could definitely see him jet off to the league. Now, personally, in my opinion, with 4 Sooners potentially going into the draft just from being too old to continue with the program, I would expect Tyler Guyton should probably stay at that point, unless he's just guaranteed first rounder, because you're going to have to deal with 4 other Bill Bedenbaugh offensive linemen that we know, hey, you know what, if some of these guys that have gotten drafted, Chris Murray, I'm trying to think of the other guy, Wanye Morris, if they go out there and have good years, you would expect that, hey, these 4, they'll probably be taken pretty high. So if Tyler Guyton waits it out another year, maybe he could secure himself a higher slot. But Bennett Warren has 1 official visit left, and that's going to be to Tennessee. He's taken 1 to Texas A&M, and he's taken 1 to Michigan. And I think you all know Michigan still sits at the top right here. And I say still because I still believe, just from conversations with him, that that's kind of what's going to happen. However, I will say this. He said, oh, you made up some ground, and it's hard not to want to play for Coach Venables. Let's be honest. Well, you know what? I said he makes you want to run through a brick wall, and he was like 100%. So definitely need to watch out for that Tennessee visit, because if you guys have watched and you guys have heard kind of just my thoughts on Bennett Warren, I've told you guys it's Michigan and I think Tennessee and then Oklahoma in a 3rd place, and potentially Oklahoma in 4th if Oregon was still in the mix, right? Now, obviously, Bill Bedenbaugh has a track record for developing offensive linemen. Bennett Warren knows this. So got a chance to ask him about the barbecue, because I thought, hey, you know what? Let's ask him about what that was like. He said that might have been the best part. So I don't know how, but I got to get invited to one of these ChampU barbecues, because I need to give this barbecue a taste for myself, just like I know all of y'all want to. But we talked about, being able to go to the plane hangar, Toby Keats, right? He said, he loves that place. He's, we've talked about it. Bennett Warren is a car guy. He likes all of the fancy cars. I think he has a Challenger himself, a blue one. And I joking with him, I've always told him, hey, if you're going to commit, you should throw a big yellow M on there, because, it's already blue. But definitely Oklahoma made strides in this recruitment. Not saying they're the leader, because I don't think they're the leader. I think Michigan's still in this one, but I think Oklahoma has positioned themselves to put themselves in consideration for a commitment, depending on what it looks like Michigan gets, because Michigan also got a crystal ball for Michael Uni. And listen, those spots in those rooms, they fill up. And if for some reason he waits too long and they take all of the offensive linemen they need, Bennett Warren can miss out. And then all of a sudden, Oklahoma might be in the driver's seat. So, not saying Oklahoma's out of that recruitment yet, but they're definitely, I think, right now a third place, not a distant third, but I think they're in third place, right behind Michigan and Tennessee. I think the gap with Tennessee and Oklahoma, though, is closer than the gap with Michigan and Tennessee, just to kind of give you any perspective there. But, guys, that's kind of it. That's what we have for now. Told you guys I'd get you something today, right? Something today. But we'll have more content coming throughout the week, especially as we have the honeymoon and the wedding, and I'm not able to record content. So over the next couple of days, I will definitely be recording, getting stuff uploaded and scheduled to go out. So guys, keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. Keep your guys' eyes and ears peeled for the announcements. Now, diving into a little bit more for the ChampU BBQ, it sounds like, with Caden Massey, I saw some of you guys on the message boards and I saw some of you guys on Twitter talking about it. It sounds like there might be some separation there between Oklahoma and Massey. Like he might not be a part of this class. We're going to do some digging on that and see if we can find some information there. Maybe see if we can talk to Caden himself. And then Oklahoma had a plethora of other guys. You guys want to hear about it. The first one's going to be Dominic McKinley, who it does not sound like, per Brandon Drum over at Rivals at OU Insider, it doesn't sound like Dominic McKinley will be making his decision till after the Under Armour All-American game in January. So this is one that Oklahoma will have to ride out. But even in January, Dominic McKinley is going to be a take for the Sooners, right? You're not going to pass up on a 5-star defensive lineman if he wants to commit to your school in January. You're just not. If you do, then you've got some serious wealth problems at your school. Additionally, you saw Terry Bousset talking about his visit to the University of Oklahoma, posting the pictures. Oklahoma definitely made up some ground there with Terry, right? I think we can all acknowledge that. However, it's not something I'm willing to put my chips in the basket for just yet, just because I feel like Texas and Texas A&M are definitely going to have a stronghold in that recruitment. One, because of proximity, but two, being a guy from Texas and being a highly rated athlete as he is. I mean, he's a 5-star athlete, a guy that can play on the defensive side of the ball or the wide receiver room. He's going to be wanted by either one of those schools, especially as Texas works to transition to the SEC. You imagine they're going to make a big push at some of these guys in the state, especially now it looks like they might not land Micah Hudson, and Micah Hudson might go to Texas Tech. But guys, I want to hear from you. Go ahead and jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are. What are your feelings? What are your guys' thoughts coming out of the ChampU BBQ weekend? And do you think we should expect to see a commitment from the likes of a Caden Durham or a Michael Patterson or somebody this week, right? Surely we're going to see a commitment. So, guys, I want to hear from you. Jump down in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts.